Welcome to Nerdschatting, movie, TV, comic chat. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome everybody to the Nerdschatting podcast, part of the Nerdschatting. What did I normally say?
He's back, James. He's already forgotten all the words.
Hang on, Nerdschatting Network. That's what it is, because we have lots of other podcasts on here. We have.
Yeah, but we haven't done anything.
No, we
since.
haven't done it in a while. But yeah,
I can't really call it a network anymore.
no,
can we?
yeah, we have
sporadic flourish of,
of
other talk.
podcasts and yes, exactly.
Don't be that guy, James. Just because you're jealous that you don't have any side podcasts on the go.
Maybe I do under a different name.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What
Anyway.
would that be? Queen Dick. Or...
Wow, let's bring it back.
No.
I'm going to rein you two in today.
Oh my God.
I let you free last week, and you ran wild with
This
your
is what
phoning
happens
in.
when Nate comes back. You start wanting to show off. I think you're tired.
I'm tired.
Anyway, shall we get to it, boys? We are the Nerds Chatting. My name is Nate, and with me is Ben and JB.
Hello, Nate. Welcome back. How was
Thank
the trip to the Dick Doctor last week? Everything okay?
Yeah, I had a really nice time, thank you.
Yeah. Had it taken off?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
I had to have a bit taken off because it was just so long.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to... Did they pour any more black into your heart?
No, well, they can't. It's so full
Oh,
of
right.
black
Okay, cool.
death.
Just checking.
So, speaking of death, it's Halloween, apparently. So we're going to be doing a Halloween
Wow.
spooktacular.
It's Halloween tomorrow, right?
Yeah, but people could listen to it tomorrow, maybe.
Sure. I mean, people do a month of spook stuff.
Yeah, and we're
month?
doing
Yeah.
an hour of it.
Well, maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
see. We'll see.
So Halloween spooktacular. We're going to talk about ghosts on screen.
Yeah.
And what they mean, what they are, how they interact, why they exist, how they exist, and all the things that are linked to it.
Sure. You're leading on this, right?
Yeah, I am.
I'm really looking forward to this.
Because you have no idea what to say, do
I
you?
will do in about now.
Right, okay.
Let me ask a very quick question before we get into the topic of film ghosts. Do you, either of you, it's a two-part question actually. One, do you believe in ghosts? And two, if you do, have or do not, have you had an experience where you cannot explain what happened? Go.
No and no.
Right, that was a quick question with you.
No, and normally I can't explain what happened because I'm drunk.
Right, that's fair, yeah.
Okay, well that didn't go how I expected it to
Well,
at all.
okay. So that's-
It's funny you ask that. So my friend, one of my very good friends who studied at Cardiff, he moved into a shared house and with obviously friends and his girlfriend at the time. And they would swear blind that there was a ghost in the house. That peculiar things would happen.
Things would go missing.
Things would go
move.
missing or moved. And that one evening in particular, like one of the lights just automatically came on. There was no one around, and that they saw what looked like a female figure walking down the stairs.
Now, I think that's just the infrastructure of Cardiff. Someone broke in and the electric works are so bad.
Oh my God.
Right. They
Wow.
Could, yeah.
No, it's really great that you both said that you asked the question and then you gave us that example, because one of the things I wanted to talk about on here, yes, it's Halloween, and yes, we want to talk about ghosts, but the big point I wanted to talk about was how ghosts in movies, I would say, in the last, let's say, 20 years, have shifted their view or shifted the way they are appreciated. When you think of a ghost, right, your initial reaction is that's something scary, it's a poltergeist type thing, it's there for some sort of nefarious reason, there's a woman on the stairs, they're trying to scare the living. Mm-hmm. But then actually the list that we've got on here, ghosts are fairly pleasant. They have either very emotional issues, or they're close to you, or they're a spirit guide. So I think things have changed slightly.
I think there's been a move away from ghosts being poltergeists in the last few years, and suddenly now they're some kind of inherently evil demon from hell who have been sent somewhere to cause as much destruction as possible, to possess someone, to carry out evil needs. Those are in the ghost stories that I've been watching. I'm not talking about things like Ghostbusters.
Well, no, the first one I think to throw at those is Harry Potter. So we're a nerdy podcast, right? We talk about nerdy stuff. So sticking with that sort of theme, in Harry Potter there are ghosts.
Yes, there are.
There
Is it Myrtle? Was that one of them?
Moaning Myrtle is a ghost.
Oh God,
The Grey Lady.
that
Nearly Headless Nick.
right on
Yeah.
my nerves. I'm not going to lie to you, but anyway.
But there is also a poltergeist in Hogwarts.
Yes, he is...
Peeves.
Peeves, that's it. It was played by Rick Mail.
So
But they cut his part.
They did.
just for the people that are stupid in the room, what's the difference between a ghost and a polter?
Exactly. So this is what I'm getting at. So
A poltergeist?
I don't think there's too much different other than the poltergeist has a lean towards someone that's negative, someone that's causing mayhem or causing harm to humans, right? And that's where I think that shift has come, because a ghost is now just almost a presence of the past, as opposed to something that's coming to cause issues. You guys have Wikipedia'd it, haven't you?
How dare you?
I
Googled
wouldn't-
it.
I
Googled
wouldn't-
it,
I
right,
haven't.
okay.
I haven't. I'm just going to pull it off the top of my head that it's, a poltergeist is a type of ghost or spirit that I believe,
Right.
I only believe,
Yeah.
that is responsible for physical disturbances such as loud noises and objects being moved or destroyed.
But you see what I mean?
I'm
So-
just jumping at.
Yeah,
that's,
yeah.
That's off the top of my head.
Right, but if you take
pretty
that,
good.
if you
Pretty
take that
good.
theory that poltergeist is that let's say evil version of
Naughty.
a ghost, naughty, yeah, that's trying to disrupt the human world, ghosts in films have become more friendly.
So let's get back to Harry Potter.
Like
Okay.
Casper, the friendly
Like
ghost.
Casper, that is one of the first, not one of the first, that's not right, but one of the major influences to changing ghosts. Because
Really?
in that story and comics and TV shows and movies, Casper's the friendly ghost.
He is. His uncles are the bad guys.
Yeah.
But they're not the bad guys as in they want to possess people. They just want to cause as much poltergeist-like activity as possible to scare people away.
What about, say, Beetlejuice?
Oh, he's a naughty little bugger.
Now that's all ghosts, right?
Is Beetlejuice a ghost?
He's dead, so yes,
And
he is a
and
ghost of sorts.
Gina Davis in the film and Alec Baldwin are ghosts.
Yes,
But they're not there to cause trouble.
they're there because they have there's something that they haven't achieved or done with their life, so they hang around.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what all ghosts do, right?
Supposedly in films, Sixth Sense is another example of that, right?
Yeah. What's the
Yes.
one with Nicole Kidman? Is that the others?
Yeah,
Is
now,
that
see, now, in the others they are a bit nefarious, aren't they?
Are they?
No. In the others, they don't realise, spoilers for that film that came out over a decade ago.
2005 or whatever it was, yeah.
I might get to watch it actually in the next 6 months.
Right,
In
okay.
the others, it's people living in a house like in the 1950s, I guess it is, and they think they're being haunted.
But they're the actual
Turns
ghosts.
out they're the actual ghosts, and they're haunting a group of people in that same house like 30 years later.
But then that's a similar thing with Beetlejuice to begin with. They don't realise they're dead, do they?
That's correct.
They
do not.
crash off the bridge and they don't know how they got home. And then they're like, well, this is weird. And then the new family move in.
Yes, that's right. And they try
Yeah.
and scare them away
Yeah.
with the help of Beetlejuice,
Yeah.
or Beetlegeist as it's sometimes spelled.
So
True story.
stick with this. We've got a few other things on the list here. So Ghostbusters. I'm dancing around all over the place, right?
So Ghostbusters has got two different types of ghosts for me. Three. It's got the fun, happy ghost, which is Slimer.
But he's not fun and happy. He
No.
is in the cartoon. In the original movie,
He's a bit of a troublemaker.
yeah.
Is he in
You
the live?
wouldn't know.
I haven't
I
watched
bought
it.
you it for your birthday, as long-time listeners will know, and you still haven't watched it.
I don't even own it anymore. I sold it on eBay.
Bastard.
At the beginning of that film, you've got the librarian ghost,
Yes.
who transforms from a floating corporeal form into this awful, hellish, demonic face that just scares the living bejesus out of you. I've got no idea what kind of ghost that is.
But it's...
And then you've got a demon in Gozer the Gozerian.
Yes, now that's one of the things where I think Ghostbusters does that thing where it steps into the other world, right? When ghosts come along...
Hang on, is it Gozer or is it Zool? Or is it both? Or is it neither?
Gozer is the flat-top lady.
Got you.
Thanks, yeah.
Which one's Zool?
Zool is the dog.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
she's a dog. Sorry.
So that's what one of the things I was going to talk about with Ghostbusters is obviously the title is Ghostbusters and it's inherently about ghosts.
I'm busting them.
But the majority of the villains in it are actually sort of a step above that. They're like demons.
Yeah, well,
Even Vigo the Carpathian is a...
well,
is he a
was-
ghost?
I think he's more he's a cursed painting, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's more of a ghost type painting. So
But then, okay.
So he was a real guy. He lived on Earth. But he was shot, stabbed, disemboweled, dissected,
like
poisoned,
hung, drawn, quartered,
and then whatever, burnt alive.
And that wasn't what killed him. His last words were,
"Hell is but a door." No,
death
is but a door. Time is but a
something.
I'll be back.
Yeah, brilliant.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, so
Smackdown.
Ghostbusters, the ghosts in it are kind of evil, but they don't really have anything that coherently brings them together. There's a blobby type Slimer. There's a human form, the librarian. Then there's a skeleton driving the car. There's a weird demon-y pink thing with arms flailing.
Yeah. There's a dream ghost.
There's a dream ghost.
Yeah,
there is.
right.
Yeah. So there's nothing that brings them together. Ghostbusters is in its own way just.
He's looking at a bloody list of ghosts in Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I know. That's all right.
Son of a bitch.
He's doing his research.
Cheating.
I'm working right now.
But you could almost discount Ghostbusters because it's a comedy.
Sure.
So
but
none of it
ghosts in
matters,
there
right?
Are sort of played for laughs.
There's kind of no rules. It's
sure.
They make up some almost fake pseudoscience where they can plasma and stuff.
Well, they have, but they're using. For me, it's kind of no. I haven't seen the film and just done a little bit of research. It's the Swiss Army knife of ghosts. They're trying to catch every type of ghost. You've got your human form ghost. You've got your Slimer.
Yeah.
Is Marshmallow Man a ghost?
He is the embodiment of a destructive demon.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that a ghost?
No. See, that's what I mean. It's it's the obvious one to go to because it's called Ghostbusters.
But the table twice.
Yep.
Stop it.
But it sidesteps the air quotes traditional, in a sheet kind of evil thing.
Yeah.
So that leads me to a little bit onto Amityville Horror.
See, I haven't seen this. You'll have to explain it to me.
And me.
Okay, fine. So there is debate whether or not Amityville Horror is something that actually happened or if it was made up by the family that lived there so they could make some money. I won't go into the details. People probably can Google it or Wikipedia it or whatever you want. There was a family that lived in this house in the late or mid-70s called the Lutz family. No, beg your pardon, DeFeo family. And the eldest son walked around the house and shot in the back of the head all of the members of his family. Shot and killed them. Right. Now, why they all lied in bed and were shot and didn't wake up
when they heard this noise
is maybe they were drugged, maybe there was something else going on. Yeah, who knows? So when it went to trial, this guy, Ronald DeFeo Jr., I think it was, his dad was senior, obviously, said that voices in the house made him do it. Skip forward a year later, the Lutz family move into this house and they say that things are moving around. There's a demonic presence sort of stalking them. There's things they're seeing in the window. Their kid has suddenly got an imaginary friend who's like hurting other members of the family. The dad is slowly going crazy. And after 28 days, they escape from the house. They never go back. And that is the Amityville Horror, basically. The Amityville Horror is about their story. Now, there's been a remake of that film. There's been about 1,000 sequels to the original, and they're all weird, and none of them are really very good. But there are two types of ghosts I get from that film. There's one that is the people that died in that house are potentially haunting it. And there's some kind of demonic presence in that house that is either forcing this kid to kill his family, sending the father of the Lutz family to go crazy. You don't really see anything in the first film. Once you see a sort of like a demon pair of eyes in a window and then quickly it's gone. Yeah. And then another time you hear something when a priest walks into the house to bless the house. He walks into a room, the door closes behind him, and then he almost gets attacked by flies, and then the door opens up, and this really soft voice comes out of nowhere, and this is what always scares me about this film, and it says twice, first time it says, get out. It whispers, it says, get out. And he's sort of looking around like, who the hell said that? It skips about a second, and then it sort of screams at him in this awful demonic voice, get out! And I was like, fuck me!
Wow. This guy.
But that, forever, is what a haunted house is to me. It's a demonic voice. It's something you can't see, screaming at you, scaring you. That's what a ghost is to me. Now, bearing in mind that probably came from a demon in that film, but a ghost to me is something that wants to cause you pain, wants to hurt you, wants you out of its house.
So there's a link there back to Ghostbusters. There's Gozer controlling everything from Spook Central, and then there's all the other ghosts that appear because of it. There's like a nexus of it. So that's interesting.
There you go. The remake, by the way, was in the mid-noughties, and it starred Ryan Reynolds as the dad who was going crazy.
Yeah, I like Ryan Reynolds.
He's not bad, is he? Does all right.
Deadpool now.
Yeah. Green
So
Lantern, no?
there are some uses of the word ghost.
Sure.
In some much more gentle and superhero-like and fantasy-like series.
Hit me with them.
So we've got Star Wars. Force ghosts.
Right. Yes.
Are beings that come from
well,
the
they are
Force,
one with the Force now, aren't they? They're one with the Force.
But they can appear when they want, and they fit the criteria of every other ghost character. But they're not mean. They're nice. They're not poltergeists.
So in Star Wars lore, when you die, you join the Force. You become the Force.
Yeah.
And
is that everyone?
Well, hang on. Bear with me a second.
All right.
So if you are prominent in using the Force, you can find your way back from the netherworld that is the Force and become a Force ghost. Right?
Question mark.
I'd like to know how many times Ben said force then.
Yeah. Listeners, write in. Yeah. But a Force ghost can't affect the real world?
Ah, you say that. However, in that movie that came out at the end of last year, spoilers for The Last Jedi, if you haven't seen it, skip ahead a minute, or 5, Yoda turns up in that film as a Force ghost, and he creates lightning that sets that tree on fire.
But it doesn't come from him. It's him working the Force, and it comes from the sky, right?
But he had an impact on...
Yeah, I get it. And this is what I'm trying to get at. So in Ghostbusters...
Why do you always go back to Ghostbusters?
It's a flat line, right, to start with. It's a baseline, okay?
Yeah.
Ghosts go through walls.
Yes.
But they also slime you.
Yes.
And they can, claw you to death and things.
Yes.
In the film Ghost, Patrick Swayze is dead and moves through walls and can't touch anything. Doesn't fall through the floor, though.
No,
He
interesting.
can touch things when he works on it.
When he works on it.
Well, he's doing some pottery.
Yes.
So, are there rules for ghosts in films that we as audience members have to accept or know already? Is there a language for ghosts?
I don't think so.
I
think there is no rule because
you've
picked up the fact that they can walk through walls and things, but they don't fall through the floor or anything else like this.
But we accept that, right? That's the thing. That's fine.
Do ghosts only appear at night? In 99% of films, yes. In Ghostbusters, in The Sixth Sense, no. They're around all the time.
Yeah.
I don't think there are rules for a ghost, how a ghost... I think they're all different.
Okay.
And people put on them what they want them to do.
And...
some ghosts can fly.
some ghosts can fly, some have legs, some don't.
Yeah. It does depend on the form of the ghost, though.
Yes,
it depends on what the writer of the film wants the ghost to do to move the plot forward.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at. So what I'm getting at is, when you're a writer and you're writing ghosts, do you think to yourself, well, ghosts have to conform to some of these rules?
No, not at all. You can.
But then is it a ghost?
It's almost like a wild card to say, okay, well, I want this to happen. How do I get that to happen? Something has to do this, this, and this to get to that. Oh, it's a ghost, and they can do that using ghost magic or what have you.
Ghost magic. It's the best thing ever. And we come back to Harry Potter.
I'm just going to wonder if there's a thing about ghost magic. You guys carry on.
So, but there are conventions. There are things that are standard. They don't fall through the wall or through the floor. They can touch things if they concentrate, but generally they don't. They go through walls.
Yeah, how does that work? How does Patrick Swayze not fall through the floor, but when he tries to pick anything up, he can't?
But not only does he not fall through the floor, when he goes to learn to touch things, he gets on the train. Well, the train isn't the floor.
That's a good point. So it doesn't work.
And he comes underground.
Yeah. It's a plot device.
Yeah, absolutely. I know.
Well,
it's not just that. What I'm trying to get at is the things that we just accept.
Yes.
The things that we accept are fine, and we don't question those things. Sometimes what breaks you out of a movie or a TV show is you go, oh, that's not realistic. But with ghosts, there's kind of like it's a ghost, so he doesn't fall through the floor. That's fine. You understand that. But do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Oh,
what are the things that we accept as written rules for ghosts, and what are the things that can break away from it?
I think one rule is that they can disappear at will.
Ah, okay. Hadn't thought of that. They can just go.
So have you guys seen any of the Paranormal Activity films?
No.
Okay, there's a really clever use of so in the third film, there's like a plot that goes all the way through these films. Like these two these two sisters are maybe haunted for something to do with their family. But anyway, the third film goes back to when these two sisters were young. They were kids. They first had these things going on. And it's set in the 80s. They've got this great big JVC video camera set up on a fan dolly, so it's moving like that. And it's really clever that it's in the front room. It scans, and there's like a standing wall. You can walk around either side, and suddenly you're in the kitchen. And there's the mum is in the kitchen, I think, doing something, and it scans to the bottom of the stairs in the front room, and suddenly there's someone with a white sheet on them. And it scans back to the kitchen, the mum's doing some stuff, scans back to the front room, the white sheet isn't there anymore, scans back to the kitchen, and it stood right behind the mum. Scans back to the front room, back to the kitchen, the mum turns around, and it just falls away, and it's gone. And it's just not there anymore.
Well, the sheet isn't there.
Now I'm getting goosebumps just describing that to you guys. The sheet just falls away and there's nothing underneath it.
So the sheet's on the floor then?
Yeah,
the sheet doesn't.
The sheet is real. What was underneath it is gone.
So what? Okay, that's pretty cool.
I'm not ever going to watch it.
No, that was
just to let the listeners know. I don't really like scary movies.
No, me either. Which is why I keep bringing back to Star Wars.
Ben's got a very good narration voice today because I've gotten a little bit scared.
So okay, let's follow on from that. Why do ghosts? Why in our minds does the image of a ghost automatically go to a white sheet with those eyes, hollowed out eyes?
Because of Casper the Friendly Ghost.
You think so?
No, Pac-Man.
Oh yeah,
Pac-Man's a good shout. Okay, so do you think it was a sort of a nebulous cloud-like shape, but it has like a top to it, if you like?
Yeah, I think probably ghosts have evolved somewhat, haven't they, since their first inception of something? Because I don't know, is the white sheet seen as like, well, if I'm white, you can't see me type of thing. So I'll put it over my head and go, whoa, it's scary. And I'm like, well, yeah, I am quite scared. But then people have thought about, well, ghosts have got more mature in terms of our thinking and what they possibly can be. Yep. Go back to Ghostbusters, Slimer. I wouldn't have thought of having a big bogey with arms.
No, yeah, absolutely,
through, slime people. And then you've gone through then that human form, but then you've got that human form of a ghost that has, if it's been killed, that's still got all its wounds and things.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
So that's another take on that. Whereas, Patrick Swayze in Ghost, he was just himself.
Yes.
I can't remember what happened. Why did he die?
His friend was laundering money for the mob, and he paid. And then Patrick Swayze sort of found out about it, but didn't realise his friend was implicated.
Got shot, basically.
So his friend paid someone to rob him and get his wallet, but he accidentally shot him and killed him.
All right, okay.
Well,
and what about the dude?
How the hell do I know that so well?
That's so good. Sixth Sense.
Well, Sixth Sense, he got shot. He got shot on the bed at the beginning.
Shot by Mark Wahlberg.
Isn't there...
No, Donnie Wahlberg, sorry.
Yeah.
Isn't there a scene in that where you actually... Because he got shot in the stomach, you don't see it, and because the boy's wearing his clothes all the time, and then doesn't he... I thought at one point there you see the wound, and you...
I think at the end he remembers being shot, so you see it. So I don't know whether it's a flashback or whether it's him suddenly realising he's been shot.
Right.
But great point, though, James, about having your wounds on you when you're a ghost. American werewolf in
American
London.
Vampire?
Yeah, American Vampire.
The fuck out of here.
American werewolf in London.
What is wrong with your language today?
I've got a point in that,
The friend in that, and actually it's...
Jack Goodman.
The duplicate, when they made the sequel/remake, American Werewolf in Paris, which is good still.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
So there are two things to talk about here.
I'm so sorry that he said that, Jim. Jim Bob Squarepants. I'm so sorry that he just said what he said.
That's fine.
No, I'm so
slightly
sorry.
more modern version.
Jim will kill you for this.
Yeah. But
you might come back as a ghost.
There are two things in that. Yeah. With my wounds on me.
Yeah.
The friend who is killed by the werewolf.
Yes, at the start. Yeah, on the moors.
Reappears all the time. Now,
yes.
Is that... What's the main character's name?
David.
Is that David losing his mind? Or is that the ghost of him?
It's sort of... Okay. It's sort of neither, but it's leaning more towards him being a ghost.
Yeah,
so
and he has the wounds.
Yes, he does.
Very much so.
Okay, so in American Werewolf in London, in the box that film creates its rules in, when you are killed by a werewolf, you walk the earth in limbo until the wolf's bloodline is severed or completely destroyed. What that means is, if you are attacked by a werewolf and killed, you come back as in limbo, walking the earth with your wounds, and you are basically there. The guy who killed you can see you. And anyone else who is a werewolf, I guess, can probably see you from that same bloodline. But no one else can see you. You can't interact with anyone else. You cannot affect anyone else. It's only the guy who killed you who's a werewolf who can see you. And they will torment you to convince you to kill yourself so they can move off to, I guess, heaven or hell, if you believe in that sort of thing. And there is no more werewolves. So what happens in that film when Jack is attacked by the werewolf on the moors, when he first reappears to David a couple of weeks later, he still looks pretty fresh. His throat has been ripped out. He's got claw marks down his face. His arm is brutalised. His chest and stomach are all ripped open. It's terrible. The next time you see him, a couple of days later, he started to rot. The next time you see him, a couple of days after that, he's a skeleton, pretty much, with eyes. And it's a puppet. A full body prosthetic puppet of the guy, the actor, Griffin Dunne, moved around by Griffin Dunne and voiced by Griffin Dunne. He was sat behind him in the porno theatre in Piccadilly Circus. There you go. But he is, for all intents and purposes, a ghost, but he only appears to the person who killed him, who is a werewolf.
So I'll come back to one point you said in a minute there. But the second point I was going to say is the other mystical or ethereal things that happen around ghosts, right?
Okay.
So we've already mentioned about demons
existing
at the same time. If you have ghosts in film or TV,
yes,
does that mean that you therefore can have, should have, or definitely do have other things like vampires, werewolves, demons, fairies? What's the rules on that? In your mind, and I'm asking you two, right? So you two are the straw poll we have this, so we can go 50-50. If you saw a ghost in a film or a TV show, would you assume that you could also have...
Or you could get all his friends round?
Yeah.
All his supernatural friends?
Other supernatural beings?
Well, hang on a minute. Teen Wolf, there's no other ghosts in that, is there? He turns into a werewolf, doesn't he?
Yeah, so that's... So you...
so I wouldn't expect there to be a ghost.
No.
But
if you had ghosts, would you have something else? So, okay, Twilight, they're all about vampires, but there's werewolves in it.
Yeah.
True Blood. Vampires.
God. True Blood has everything.
It has everything in it. Fairies and vampires and werewolves.
Werewolves and also werepanthers as well.
Don't vampires and werewolves go together? I think they come as a set, don't they?
They kind of do. You tend to think they do. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got a werewolf, there's going to be a vampire in the
one is the
somewhere.
mortal enemy of the other one in most pop
films.
Cultures. Yeah. But ghosts... So you have the ghost in American Werewolf in London because you have the werewolf.
Yes.
So it's a supernatural link.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. Again, it's about that language of film and TV. If you were watching a film all about ghosts and suddenly there was a werewolf,
I probably wouldn't blink an eye.
Wouldn't blink an eye.
No, I'd be like,
it's all supernatural.
I'd be like, in a minute, it's vampire mate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think if you believe in one, you have to believe in everything else. It's like if you believe in heaven, you kind of have to believe in hell.
What?
No. And I don't know if I do believe in any of that sort of thing. But going back to my question at the start, thanks very much, by the way, for you guys turning it around on me. I do believe in ghosts. I have not witnessed anything, but I know someone very close to me who has.
It's me.
It's not you. Because you would have gone, oh, whatever, and walked away.
Tell us a story.
Well,
can you?
Yeah, I can. My aunt and uncle had a house in Congressbury up towards Bristol. My aunt and uncle had a very good job. My uncle worked for Canon, and he used to fly around the world, basically. And they had a daughter, my eldest cousin Kim, who when she was younger she was going to college nearby, and she would stay at home. My nan and granddad would go up, and they'd stay in the house with them. Now, my nan swears blind that the house they lived in was always... I never really liked it. It was always creepy. Coincidentally, that's the first place where I watched Amityville Horror, in that house.
Brilliant.
The house was always creepy to me. I always thought that before I watched that film. It was really old. It had steps on the side of the house where you would walk up the steps to get on your horse. That's how friggin' old this house
Right.
was. And my nan swears blind that something pressed up against her in that room and was trying to smother her, basically. And she sort of went, "Oh, get off," and woke my granddad up. And my granddad was like, "Really, what's going on?" And suddenly it was gone. So she swears blind, and my nan she has not changed one word of that story since she told it to me first of all. And she told it to me like the day after it happened. This was in the 80s as well. So I was a kid at the time, but I swear to God, my nan is now in her late 80s. She is, for want of a better phrase, she's losing her marbles, all right? Every time I ask about that story, not one word of it changes. Every single time. So what does that tell you? Maybe my nan made it up. That's what it tells you. I believe that there is something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's evil. I don't know if it's real. But I think there is definitely something. There cannot not be. And if there's that, there has to be other things, right?
I'm not entirely sure of those types of things myself, personally. I mean, I
Call
remember...
my nan a liar. Call my nan a liar.
No.
Just you.
Just
me.
you.
Yeah.
Just you.
Fine.
I know that your mind can play tricks on you and you can see things that you may not see. There's lots of factors on that.
Yeah.
Being tired, you blink, I don't know, whatever it could be, sun in your eyes.
Trick of the eye, anything.
all that sort of jazz. And then you hear noises. Noises in your house have just happened because you've got your central heating on because it's cold. So the floorboards are creaking. And because of movie influence, you can sometimes feel that there's something's there that's not there. And you begin to get a bit feeling uncomfortable. Where I live, if I'm out on the beers and there's a way I can walk home and there's no lights and it's like a long path and it's really dark, I don't generally like walking down there because it just makes me feel uncomfortable because my mind is like,
playing tricks on you.
But playing tricks on
there's
you.
something around the corner.
Yeah,
There's something watching you from the shadows.
But don't get me wrong. I mean, there's all this type. I mean, we talk about ghosts, but I don't know, like Ouija boards and speaking to the dead, and let me know if you're here and just stamp on the floor once. Oh, what was that? So almost.
By the way, that was James knocking the table.
It was a ghost.
But so I don't know about. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there are things through history that have shown that there is
Unexplained, right?
something that you cannot explain. It's the heat reflecting off the earth, whatever it might be. I don't know. So go on.
Well,
Let's bring it back round to film.
Well, no,
shall
what I
we?
want to bring back round to was that good and evil that you were talking about there, and what we feel with that uncomfortable moment, why we feel that uncomfortable moment. And the thing you're talking about with American Werewolf was the limbo status.
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of is the thing that defines for me whether they're good or evil. So a ghost caught in limbo, which is what most ghosts tend to be.
They haven't moved on.
The language of films, I keep going on about, is if
yeah.
there's a ghost, something has to happen to move them to the whichever stage they're going to go to. Afterworld, thank you, yeah. The good place or the bad place or whatever it is. So limbo can define what that ghost thinks, feels, wants. Mm-hmm. But do some ghosts come from a darker place? Do some come from a lighter place? Man of Steel. Right, bring it back to nerdy stuff.
Okay, fine.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Ghost Dad.
Yeah, my ghost space dad.
Space Dad, right? There are ghost dads in that movie.
There are.
One
yes.
is a computer program, and one is actually Kevin Costner. Or was that in Justice League? No, it's in Batman vs Superman.
BVS.
Same universe, same thing,
universe,
right?
same whatever.
He goes to the top of a mountain and he speaks to his dad.
Yes, he does.
So is that Clark Kent losing his mind, or is that ghost dad from the good place coming down to give him advice?
Or is it his conscious?
Yeah.
I thought it was him remembering a conversation that he had with his dad from a long time ago.
But it's on the top of the mountain where he is.
Sure, but I just thought that... Yeah, I've got no answer to that.
Exactly. so okay. Let's go down the road that he was a ghost.
Okay.
Then he's theoretically come from a place of positivity.
Well, because he has a positive message to reinforce the Clark. Yeah,
sure.
okay.
But then other ghosts might say, come to you to cause you harm.
Well,
or
if we're talking about limbo, and that's the place where ghosts reside before they move on to the good or the bad place,
yeah.
I think it depends why they are there, and that's why they remain. So if they are in limbo because they go back to American Werewolf because they want to convince someone to kill themselves, that's kind of a bad thing. But to kill themselves, it releases all these poor souls from limbo who can then move on to the good or the bad place. Yeah. So it sort of all depends on a certain point of view.
Star Wars.
if someone remains in limbo and is a ghost because they want to see some horrible scheme that they were cooking up come to fruition, then maybe they're going to do things to force that horrible scheme to come to fruition by doing bad things.
Okay.
So they're a bad ghost, right?
I have more questions for debate.
Go on then.
On that note,
yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus, okay.
The main bad guy in Mortal Kombat is Shang Tsung? No.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
He steals the souls of vanquished fighters.
Your soul is mine.
Yeah? When he dies, those souls are released to whatever place they go.
Sure.
So that's not ghosts in films, right?
Okay, yeah, I'll go with it, yeah.
So question from that, leading back to what you were saying.
Yeah.
What are ghosts?
Consciousness of potential dead people.
Consciousness. Are they souls? Are they energy? Are they demons? What is a ghost? And what do we expect a ghost to be from film and TV?
If my friend Dave, the comic book guy, was here right now, he would say that souls do not exist. No one has a soul. Where is the soul? Tell me where the soul is right now. Where is it on your body?
It's just underneath my toes.
Yeah, exactly right. So I think that what you said is great. I go with that. It is the
just
soul
for everyone
the...
else, that Ben is pointing to me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah. When he says you,
I think
we
what
all
you
knew he
said
was
there,
never going to
JB,
say I was
no,
right.
I think what you said there, JB, is on the nose. It is the... what do you say again?
consciousness.
Yeah.
It could be
the disembodied consciousness of someone. There you go.
So there is a now I'm not a scientist. I don't know if you knew that or
No,
not.
you're an idiot.
Just to clarify, but there is a basic science principle that energy can neither be destroyed nor created, just transferred.
Oh,
right.
Okay.
So if you were to burn something,
yes,
the energy that had that thing made up. So you burn a piece of paper, that paper becomes heat, light, smoke. Ash. It's transferred to something else. You don't ever destroy it. You don't ever create. You just change it, right? Mm-hmm. So with that in mind, the consciousness could be the electricity in your brain moving around and has to then take on another form, plasma or
ectoplasmic residue,
exactly.
Liquid magma.
Yeah. So
this just became very deep.
Well, no, it's good. It's interesting because it comes back to what I'm saying about the language of film and TV and what we just assume is right and works. We don't question it.
That's really good.
And if you have that, if you don't have a soul and it's just consciousness, then you're kind of making statements about good and bad places, are you not?
Yes.
Do they exist? Are they places you would go to? Is that consciousness does it become the grass or the sky? What is right about these movies and what's wrong? What do these movies do and tell us? Two really metaphysical questions.
I think if you're going to go deep, deep, like you've just done,
deep undercover.
I can't answer that. But
no,
what I can say is,
opinion.
I think that in terms of the films that ghosts have got a wide breadth of what they can or what they can be, but I think there's a very small element of what they can't be.
Yeah, okay, that's cool. That's a good way of thinking of it. Yeah.
you would say that, well, and because of that, you don't question it. I mean, all the times that we've been talking about things is about how you accept things, isn't it? We talked many months ago about the uncanny valley and how things make us feel.
Yeah.
When it comes to ghosts, or it's been depicted as a ghost, do we get that same feeling of if the ghost was of human form but didn't look quite right? Would we go, ugh? Because I don't think we would.
No, I think you accept it more if it looks a little bit like a human.
Yeah.
If it looks like Slimer, you go, that's an effect.
Yeah.
It's cool and fun and scary, but it's an effect. It's not what was once a consciousness or a soul. It's a thing.
I think so. I think the book of how to put a ghost into a film is just completely open. You can pretty much do whatever you want. No one would question it. No one would question the physics of it or the physicality of it.
Yeah.
Or that it can walk through a window or a wall, but then it doesn't just fall to earth. It's still walking there. But then why doesn't it just fall through the floor? I don't know.
There's a note at the bottom of our menu for a film, which I think goes some way to try to explain things like this. So The Matrix Reloaded has a series of characters which are supposed to be the machine world's way of explaining some of those things.
Was that the brothers?
So there are two brothers are the ghosts, but there's also supposed to be werewolves and vampires in the movie. So I don't know if you remember when in the second Matrix film Reloaded, when he has a fight in the stairwell by the Mirror of Indian was, and he stops all the bullets and then he fights jumping across this really ornate stair.
It's called the Chateau fight scene.
And he stops a guy with a blade on his side of his arm. They're all vampires and werewolves. All those people who fight there are vampires and werewolves.
Yeah,
there you go.
Mm-hmm. That's why they last as long as they do,
right.
Because they're supposed to be a little bit more powered than your regular sort of human.
It's not explained very well, and actually, there's only I think there's one bit where one of them sort of sneers and you can see teeth.
Yeah.
Like that. Going back to what you're saying though, the two brothers in it are ghosts, and they choose when to have physical form and when to pass through.
Yeah, when they can drive
objects.
a car, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then doesn't one of them get knocked out of the car?
Yeah.
And then on the scene, and then another car just drives right through them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And he also chooses to get in the next car.
He jumps in, doesn't he?
Yeah.
How cool. Did you see? I just did it
You
myself.
did, yeah.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like that plays with our ideas of what ghosts can and can't be.
Yeah.
And it plays with the idea of them having consciousness and having they're fairly unstoppable evil characters in that.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, even when they are quote unquote blown up at the end, that didn't kill them.
No.
It turned them into their sort of ghost form and sent them flying off into the sky so they could get away. They're not dead. They're still around. They are pretty much unkillable. Those things.
So the concept of ghosts, going back to what you were saying originally, James, is about them being able to walk through things. Ant-Man and the Wasp, there's a character called Ghost.
Yes.
And it's called Ghost. She's called Ghost. Spoilers. Because she walks through things, passes through objects.
Yes.
Because she's always phasing, isn't she? Is that right? I think
She doesn't fall through the floor either, does she?
No, she doesn't.
No, I think she's got special moon boots.
Oh, moon boots, the special moon boots.
Yeah, the anti-gravity.
Yeah,
Can I, maybe to wrap this up, I have a question to ask you two. Oh, sorry, do we have any more films that you want to talk about?
What have we not mentioned on it? Harry Potter we were briefly mentioned. I mean, the ghosts in Harry Potter, there's very little explanation for when you do become a ghost or don't become a ghost. There's the veil scene when, spoilers, apologies, Sirius dies. Yeah, I know. And behind the veil, you hear voices, or people that have been close to death hear voices. And in the books, there is a point after Sirius dies where Harry goes to Nearly Headless Nick and says, oh, Sirius could be a ghost. And Nearly Headless is like, it doesn't quite work like that. And actually, even if they were a ghost, it would suck. It's the worst thing. You kind of just can't leave. You can't touch anything. You can't eat. You can't have any interactions. You're just there constantly.
Yeah.
And it's one of those bits of Harry Potter where it edges onto something a little bit deeper than this boy's journey through school, where you kind of go, oh yeah, there's something in there that's a little bit unnerving and a little bit makes you unhappy and consider what it is to have the soul or not. So yeah, Harry Potter, there's that.
Would you say? I'm just going to chuck a real random in there because you know what I like to do. I like to do this.
For a hand grenade.
Quantum Leap. Remember the film?
Yeah, I was thinking about Quantum Leap.
Because when I was talking about the TV show,
yeah.
sorry, yeah, I do apologise.
Well, the film of Quantum Leap is basically source code.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
There you go. Sorry.
But again, there's the consciousness of Sam Beckett going into other forms to right wrongs and do all this sort of stuff. So you know, he's technically he's not a ghost.
But he only moves on when he's written a wrong.
Well, exactly.
Written a wrong?
Written a wrong to be a right.
Righted a wrong.
Righted a wrong?
We'll go with what you just said.
When he makes things better.
What a great example. That's a science ghost, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he's trying to do time travel or something, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
And it all goes horribly wrong. But I think again, but we've not talked about ghosts that then possess somebody.
I was going to say that. You're on the thought train I'm on, James.
I'm going to be running this show.
Yeah, you are.
In years to come, I can feel it.
Because that happens in things like Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
They possess them for a very, very funny song and dance scene. Ghost. What happens in The Conjuring?
In The Conjuring, it's for lack of a better phrase, a witch who is doing the haunting, and she possesses the mum.
But then it's a witch. Other supernatural characters.
But the first time you see her interact with the family, she's throwing them around and you can't see her at all.
Right, okay.
So she's almost like a poltergeist sort of entity type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the film Ghost, he takes over Whoopi Goldberg's body.
Yes.
And possesses her, but she allows it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are other examples of this, and I was trying to think of them before.
What about, for Christ's sake, The Exorcist?
Yeah.
That is all about possession.
Yeah.
But she is possessed by a demon who may or may not be, I think it's Pazazu, but it may or may not actually be the devil.
Yeah.
You know?
But are demons ghosts from the bad place?
Oh, man.
Oh, Jesus, God, yes.
Why don't you just use all of the words?
Yeah.
Jesus, God, devil, man, child.
Oh, my Lord Jesus.
You go on.
Quantum Leap. Do you know what happens in the last episode? Are you aware
Doesn't
of
he
it?
talk to God? Isn't God in the bar?
He leaps into himself in a bar, and there's a guy who's like you say, the barman, who is more or less God. Yeah. And then he.
Doesn't he go and sit outside, and then it kind of...
It's a whole episode about what's right and wrong, morality, and what he's done, how he's changed the world and people's lives. And the one thing that he always wished he could have done was leap into Al as a young man and fix an issue.
Marriage,
it's marriage when he's younger, which he then finally does do. But it's really interesting that science ghosts still felt the need to include a higher presence, a being, whether it's Ghostbusters with Gozer being the bad guy leading the thing, or something like God, or whatever you want to use that word, some
whatever that
deity,
higher being is.
exactly, that still has some management control over ghosts that exist, and we accept it still.
Let's wrap this up. Let me take this back to the beginning. I asked you a question. The first part of my question was, do you believe in ghosts? Yeah. You both said no, right? However, you both not refuse, but you don't like to watch horror films, scary films, because they scare you. You won't walk down a pathway closer to your house at night because it's dark and you're not sure what might come out of the dark and get you.
Yeah, I might get robbed.
So you don't
Probably
believe in
thinking about
ghosts.
physical being rather than a
going to
ghost.
mug you.
Yes.
You don't believe in ghosts, but you don't like watching scary films.
Yeah.
I definitely
That's
don't.
interesting, right?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because it's scary.
Yeah.
But you don't believe in that sort of thing.
I don't believe it, but it still makes me jump. And the fact that I probably have an overactive imagination means that I won't
You
sleep.
definitely have no
imagination. Yeah, have I told
Especially after a coffee.
have I not told you the fact that I once... so me and... when I was living in a shared house, a friend of mine, we used to have shit-me-ups Sundays. So we would go and rent a film that would shit us up. And... we did it. We watched.
That's the best thing I've ever heard, by the way.
We watched one of them and it wasn't actually that scary. Then the next week we got Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I watched the first, I think 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I couldn't watch it anymore.
Yeah.
And neither could he because it was really scary.
Yeah.
And we had to watch it on fast forward. It was a DVD.
Brilliant.
We
love it.
We had it on like a pace that you could still just catch little bits.
like 4 times or
But
something. Yeah.
I then I went to bed in upstairs, and my window was, it was. I could have sworn when I got into bed, turned around, that there was Michael Myers. Is it Mike?
No, Leatherface from
Leatherface. Sorry.
yeah.
Leatherface was at the window. I'm just like, ah!
It's just a reflection of yourself, mate, when you had an afro.
It was, yeah. What a prick.
I think the thing is that the scary part of it is it's so other. It's so different.
It's
alien, unexplainable. There is no, like you said, there's no fact that you can put behind it.
And it's possibly even scarier when it may start as someone who you're interacting with who may seem like you or I, normal, regular, human, and then suddenly they're not. Suddenly something changes. And that goes back to what you're saying, James, about the uncanny valley. Something's off.
Yeah, well, I think I can watch horror films. I mean, ghosts are normally associated with horror.
Yes.
Okay, and werewolves and things. I can watch vampires and werewolves and things like this, but things that make me, they don't generally make you jump. You know, but when you get to other horrors like Saw and everything else, see
that's all based in reality, and it could happen.
And it could happen, but I don't know what it is, but I can watch some of that. I don't enjoy watching it, but comparing that to, I don't know, it's just ugh.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
there is a scene in The Conjuring that I will never forget. In fact, there are two scenes that I'll never forget. One is the mum and the youngest kid who's not at school. They play a game in the house where they hide from each other and they clap to try and, one's blindfolded and the other one's sort of around clapping to sort of try and sort of bring them to where they are. The mum gets locked in the stairwell at the top that leads down to the basement. She's locked in there, she can't get out, and she can hear clapping. And then suddenly, a pair of hands appear from right behind her out of the darkness and just go like that and clap. And she's like, ah! And she's screaming.
That doesn't sound good.
There's that, and there's another scene that made my daughter almost die. And that's where something that no one else can see, but this little girl can see, is stood behind a doorway. And then suddenly it's not behind a doorway anymore. It's on top of a wardrobe, and it jumps at the character. She almost died. She almost died, and I was laughing so hard, but because I'd already seen it, so it was fine.
So, ghosts. Tell us what you think about ghosts. Tell us what you think about ghosts in films, and if they're a viable, scary character now, or they've become a bit more soft, like I suggested. Or
no, you're wrong.
No,
you don't watch those scary things.
No, I don't.
Or if you've ever had an experience with ghosts, tell us about that.
Yeah, but don't scare me though.
No, I don't want Ben to talk about films anymore.
No,
because
it's getting dark in here. Actually, this is a bit scary. Yeah. It's getting darker and darker in this room.
Can you hold my hand?
Not all I'm going to hold.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, Nate.
Take us home. Where can people find us?
Nerdschatting on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and nerdschatting@outlook.com and nerdschatting.podbean.com, and we're on Spotify and iTunes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. Bye.
Happy Halloween.
Bye.